Oh, here we go. Today we're talking to Anna, a travel blogger from the legendary Adventures of Anna, which you can find at Crazy in the Rain. So welcome, Anna. Thanks for joining us from Colorado today.
Yeah.
So you've got a popular travel website that I'm sure a lot of our viewers or readers have probably seen before. Um,
Mhm.
and you've got some great content on there. I've noticed that you've said your mother is your biggest inspiration, and she was the reason why you started traveling. Um, did you take trips with her? Like, what was the most memorable trip, do you think, that you took with her? And is that how you started? And I know most of your travels now are solo. So, at what age did you kind of make the decision to start traveling by yourself as well?
Yeah. Um, I felt inspired by my mom because when my mom was in her 20s, she used to nanny in Norway in the winter and backpack Europe in the summer for like 3 years. And she traveled extensively. And she always had said that her only regret in life was that she didn't travel more. And that always really stood out to me because she had traveled a lot. um, So the first trip I took, I guess it was just me and my mom. We went to New York City when I was 15, which was kind of a big deal because I lived in a town in Maine with 900 people, tiny town. So the first trip I took with my mom was to New York City, and we just went around the city, went to Central Park and all the museums and Times Square, and um, ate a lot of hot dogs and stuff like that. That was the first trip I took with my mom, and I didn't start traveling then because I was still in high school.
Did it give you a taste for
I,
travel?
I'm sorry.
Did it give you a taste for travel?
Yeah, definitely. Also, my parents used to fly me out to Wyoming to visit my grandparents in the summer when I was 10 and when I was 13 and when I was 15. So um, that also gave me a taste for travel because I used to do road trips with my grandparents during the summer and stuff. And it was something that my mom and my dad always encouraged whenever there was an opportunity to take a trip when I was in high school or when I was young. They really encouraged me to do that. Um, and I started traveling after I got out of a long-term relationship in 2010, so I was 22. My first trip was backpacking Europe for 4 months.
Cool. And do you enjoy traveling solo? Is it something that's difficult to do, or you really enjoy that?
No, I really like it. When I first started, I was really nervous and I was afraid that I wouldn't make any friends. I imagined myself wandering around Europe with no one to talk to. And it turned out to be a totally illegitimate fear because I met so many people and I made so many new friends. So even though I travel by myself, I'm not really by myself. I meet people constantly, and I'm always hanging out with people. Maybe so much so I'm with other people that I value the time I do have to myself.
Yeah, cool. And I'll get the number one question out of the way straight away. Is what's the favorite destination? What's the best place that you've been to?
My favorite place still and so far is Puerto Rico. Um, they have beautiful beaches with like nothing on them, just totally untouched. They've got an amazing rainforest. They have got mountains and caves and incredible snorkeling and castles and cobblestone streets. Um, and there's islands off of Puerto Rico that are really neat. Velebra and Vieques. They have one of the islands has the world's brightest bioluminescent bay. So like when you swim, the water glows. It's really neat.
Wow.
Um,
Do you have plans to go back there anytime soon?
um, no immediate plans, but I usually get there at least once a year. Um, I first went there, I volunteered at a bed and breakfast in the rainforest for 2 months, and that was my first experience there. And that was really immersive. It was an amazing experience.
Cool. And I guess your blog or your travels are kind of known as being, I guess, a budget traveler. Do you have any tips that you can share? Because people are always trying to, get the best deals on travel. Or do you have any particular tips you recommend for budget travelers?
Yeah, I think a really big tip is to do some research and find a country where the cost of living is really low and it's a cheap country to visit. Like, for example, a lot of the countries that I've been in Central America, I could get a huge plate of food for like $3. Same thing in Peru, and I'm sure it's true in other countries in South America. And
Yeah, I think Southeast Asia as well. I just got back from
yeah,
Southeast Asia, and it's a similar story, I guess. Yeah.
and that makes a big difference when everything that you're doing, where you're staying, if you're doing tours, transportation within a country, if all of it is 3 or 4 times as cheap as what you're used to paying, then it's a great way to take a vacation and still not travel like you're on a tight budget, but not spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's a tip. I also do Couchsurfing. Shall I explain what that is?
Yeah, sure. If people haven't heard of couch surfing, let's give a brief explanation.
Basically, Couchsurfing is a community of travelers, and they allow people to stay in their homes for free. So it's a website, and you can, when you go to a city, you can see the people who are part of the community who live in that city, and you can look at their profiles, and if you think that you'd be a good fit with that person, you can send them a couch request and ask if you can stay with them for a couple of days, and they can say yes or no. And that saves so much money on accommodation, and it's also a really incredible way to see a place from a local perspective, because you are staying with locals and they'll tell you all the best places to do, and also they'll tell you the cheap things to do, so it saves you some money there.
Yeah, sounds like a
And
great.
I think, yeah, that's probably one of my biggest money savers there. I also travel with a tent and camp a lot. um, and also cooking your own meals. I always try to eat breakfast in. I always have granola and stuff like that, and I carry snacks with me, so I don't end up buying like expensive airport food. Um, and with Couchsurfing, you have a kitchen, so it makes it a lot easier to cook your own meals.
Yeah,
And then with money you save, you could go out to eat for something nice once in a while.
yeah, great. And so it seems like you're always on the road or traveling around. So do you have a regular job, or does is your blog your main source of income? How do you sort of manage that with your traveling as well?
It's a whole bunch of things put together. I do I do social media marketing. So like I set up Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus for businesses, and I do consulting with that as well, and that's all something that I can do remotely. I also do some photography. I do trip consulting. Like I help people plan trips and help people save money planning trips, which is also something I can do remotely. Um, and just this year, so far, I've had one trip where I had a sponsor. I went to Iceland and I was able to have a gear sponsor. So I was able to go to Iceland and I just had to wear the gear and have adventures. So that was pretty great. But so far, my website is just because I enjoy doing it.
Cool. I think it really comes through, when you're passionate about something, and makes it really interesting to read or look at. So That's awesome. I guess the internet must have really changed travel for people these days compared to 20 years ago. I guess there's so many more opportunities to earn an income with a job that's location independent. So it's really
Yeah,
available, isn't it? Cool.
yeah, definitely.
And
The
so,
other thing,
yeah, sorry.
the other thing I have to mention, as far as how I afford to travel, I also live on very little money. I actually just opened my first credit card last week, but I don't have any debt, and I live very cheaply. Like I don't go out to eat a lot, and if there's a bus that takes 2 hours and costs $2 versus a taxi that takes 20 minutes and costs $20, I'm probably going to take the bus every time.
Yeah.
So a lot of it too is that I'm not buying a lot of things because I have to carry around what I have, and I also, because I'm nomadic, I don't have monthly bills for the most part. I'm not paying rent. I don't have car insurance. And so that helps a lot, not having those monthly expenses.
Yeah.
So that's also a huge part of how I approach travel.
Great. It's another great tip for people if they want to do some more traveling is trying to keep the expenses down. So your website, The Legendary Adventures of Anna, which is at crazyintherain.com. What is Crazy in the Rain? Do you go crazy when it rains?
um, I actually have a little role playing on the rain tattooed on me, and it's something that I've connected with for a long time. I also do some nannying for work, and it's really stood out to me how little kids are really happy and fascinated by small things, like playing in the rain. They're like, if it's raining and they can go outside and stomp in a puddle, they are so excited. And I'm like that too. I get excited about small things, and so part of it is a reminder to myself that I always want to stay fascinated with small things, and I guess it also just represents doing things that make me happy, and I do like playing in the rain.
I think everybody does, right?
I think so. Um, like I also travel with like sidewalk chalk and playing cards and bubbles and stuff like that, and I don't know too many other adults that do, but whenever I take it out, everyone wants to play with it, no matter how old they are.
Everyone keeps the inner child trapped inside most of the time.
Yes.
So, what's the most adventurous or perhaps riskiest thing that you've done during your travels?
I thought about that one beforehand. I think one of the times when I felt the most scared, that's how I was thinking of it to answer your question. Um, I did this hike in Norway to this rock called Trolltunga. It's this rock that sticks out really far over a fjord, like over the water. And I just didn't plan very well. My friend and I left late in the afternoon, and I didn't realize what an intense hike it is. And I would classify myself as a casual hiker. And long story short, we ended up getting really lost, and it started raining, and it was dark, and we had these like dinky little flashlights, um, and we ended up having to try to spend the night because we were afraid it was so dark. We were afraid we were gonna like step off the side or something. Um, and we just kind of like we put all the clothes on that we had, but we weren't very well prepared to spend the night. So we just kind of like laid down on a trash bag on the ground, and I have never been so cold in my life. I think that I was asleep for like 45 minutes, and I was just like shaking uncontrollably. It was really cold. And then I woke up, and then my friend and I waited for the sun to come up, and
Made it out
then we
alive.
were able to see. Yeah. So that was terrifying, and I pulled a muscle in my knee on the way back, so every step was like excruciating.
So that typically wasn't the highlight of your traveling.
You know, it's actually I still think of that place in Norway as the most beautiful cold weather place that I've ever been. And I do think that when a hike is extra difficult, when you get to where you're going, you really do see the beauty a lot more and appreciate it more because of the work that you had to do to get there.
Yeah.
So the hiking itself, not the highlight of my travels, but when we actually got to the place, it was amazing and really gorgeous. It was definitely an adventure.
Sounds like it. Are you also adventurous when it comes to food? Do you do you try local delicacies, or have you got any adventurous food stories?
Yes. In the last few months, I have tried a lot of intense stuff. I was in actually just in I started with I was in Salt Lake City in Utah, and my friend accidentally ordered sea urchin with a raw quail egg on top, and we didn't know that that's what it was going to be, and it was so big. And there's a video of me almost throwing it up, but I did manage to eat it. But it was a lot of interesting texture there. But topping that by far was Iceland. They have a lot of fermented food, which is really just like rotten food. Um, so my friends and I, we stayed at a farm through Airbnb.com, and they had a refrigerator with lots of fermented food, which they probably have for their guests. So I think I tried uh, fermented sheep testicles and
What's the
a
smell
whole
like?
bunch of other. It smells like rotten meat. It's the nest. It's the grossest thing. But the worst thing, I did a jeep tour in Iceland, and they have fermented shark, and I just had a tiny, tiny bit of it, and it's the most disgusting thing I have ever tried in my life. um, even I managed to swallow a tiny, tiny piece, but even after I had already swallowed it, I was like almost throwing up for like 10 minutes because of the aftertaste. And I mean, it smells like rotten fish, and you're putting rotten fish in your mouth, and um, so I'll try just about anything, but it's very gross. I don't think anything's going to be as gross as that.
Well, at least you can say you've tried it now, which most people can't. So
Yeah.
cool. And
And I have
what would you,
videos of all of it.
so what would be your dream travel destination? A place that you haven't been to yet that you'd really like to go, or what's next on your journey? Where's your next destination?
I'd really like to go to Tokyo. I looked into it a lot, but I decided that I'm going to go when I just have a little bit more money to go to Tokyo. Um, so I decided, I think in October, maybe October, November, I'm going to go to Ecuador. I've never been there, and I'm looking into maybe renting an apartment for 1 or 2 months in Ecuador, and exploring, and that also will probably involve the Galapagos Islands, which I've always been excited to visit.
Are you
And
a are you a wildlife fan?
absolutely, I'm most happy when I'm outside in nature. Um, so definitely, and I love doing photography too and photographing wildlife and everything.
Great. And can you see any end to your travels inside, or will you be traveling for the rest of your life, do you think?
I always tell people I will travel until it doesn't make me happy anymore. So right now it makes me happy. I'm gonna continue with it. And if it doesn't make me happy, or if something else makes me more happy, then I'll travel less and do more something else.
Sounds like a great philosophy to have. If your life was to be made into a movie, um, who do you think you would like to play you?
I thought about this, but not a lot. I was thinking maybe one of the Olsen twins, only because I know that they're about my height and maybe we have a similar facial structure. So Mary Kate or Ashley Olsen. Plus, they have done some serious acting. Um, so maybe one of them. Um,
Cool. Might happen when.
I have some Norwegian in me, and I know that they do too. So maybe we could look a little similar.
Great. And before we wrap up, I know there's a lot of people around that have thought about starting their own travel blog, or doing some travel writing. Do you have any tips or insights for people that are looking to start blogging about their travels?
um, I think, let's see. I think probably the biggest, the thing that was the most helpful to me when I was just starting my travel blog was joining um, groups of other people who are starting a travel blog. There's groups on Facebook of travel bloggers that have several hundred people, and you can ask any question that you can think of in these groups, and there's a whole community of travel bloggers who have experience who can help you with your questions. Um, my other advice would be to realize that it is a lot of work to travel and blog at the same time. It's a different travel experience, and you really have to find a balance because now with travel blogging, it also involves doing social media. So most travel blogs are also putting a lot of time into Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Um, and it's a great thing that we have social media because it's a great way to publicize our websites for free. But it's also a lot of work, so maybe to try out travel blogging and decide if it's for them or not because it can be a lot of work. Um, and probably the most important thing is to um, write what I guess focus on whatever you're good at. If you're good at photography, if you're good at writing, and whatever you're passionate about. If you're really passionate about one country, then make that country the focus of your travel blog. So I definitely think that putting out quality content about something you're passionate about is way more important than just putting out a lot of content. So,
I guess if you're
tips.
passionate about it, then it's not really work if you enjoy it. So good
Yeah,
tips.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Anna. And viewers can see your website at crazyintherain.com, and we'll put links to your website and all your social profiles down underneath the video.
Great.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Automodas, automodas.